Morning warriors, and welcome to Why Shy Why. Last week on Why Shy Why, what we did was we went through the first few steps you need to do when you are building an app out. Okay, if you have an app idea and you think it's going to change the world and you're going to change lives, please check out that video because it is the most important part of building an app. Okay, then you can come back to this video, which is the second most important part of building an app. Today we will talk about coding, most specifically around the journey that you go through when you're building an app. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, last week we left off at you building a persona for your app, okay? A persona is really just a few elements, a few characteristics of the perfect person you think will use your app, all right? Now what you've got to do is you've got to go out there again, right? And this time what you're going to do, instead of just talking to everybody, you want to target your talking to the persona, okay? So last week we talked about the perfect person to use an app like Xero accounting software. So what we would do is go and find people that would use Xero accounting software, and we would talk to them, right? We would say things like, this is the features that my app will have. This is how we feel like it will change your life. Is this something that's a problem to you that you want to fix? And if it is, then tell us about it, okay? And just sit back, relax, listen. Make sure you buy the person who's talking and doing all the work a bit of coffee, okay? So what you're trying to do here is really have a whole bunch of open-ended questions getting into the minds and hearts of your perfect target market. The persona acts as the filtering device for you to go and talk to the right people. You're still going to find the wrong people there, and that's okay. And you're going to find people that aren't interested, and that's okay. But you do want to talk to as many people as possible. If you can get 30 or 40 or 50 people that fit your persona, very specific persona, but a persona, that's awesome. That's really good. Then you should have sheets and sheets of data of just notes of your interviews, okay? Don't worry too much about how that actually works out. You could do it face-to-face, you could do it on Skype, you could do it on the phone, but you miss out on a lot of cues that are not verbal. But, you know, if that's what it takes, go ahead and do it, all right? Now, what you've done is you've talked to them about your app, right? I want you to do one specific thing once you've told them about your app, they've told you about their problems and how they would interact with this app if it was built. I want you to ask them in exactly these words. How much would you pay for it? Okay? Do not put a number in their head. Do not say something like, would you pay 99 cents? Do not say, what's it worth to you? Do not say anything like that. Say, if this was available on your iPhone or on your Android right now, how much would you pay for it? Write that number down. Here's the key. It doesn't matter what the number is, as long as it's not zero. If it's zero, what that person is saying to you is that, I love the idea, but there's no way this is a big enough problem for me to spend money on. Okay? And so the bigger the number gets, I guess the bigger they are trying to show that this is a problem in their life that they're willing to spend money on. Again, if they say 1 cent or if they say $101, it doesn't really matter. They're just willing to spend money. And I guarantee you that if you come in at $3 for someone who previously said 1 cent, they'd buy it because they're willing to spend money. But you've got to ask it exactly like I said it because it's got to be point blank and it's got to shock them a little bit. You want the first reaction number, okay? All right, now you've done the hardest part, okay? This is about getting all this information onto paper, into spreadsheets so you can analyze your data. You haven't written a line of code, but you've got to do the second hardest part now, right? And this is to find a good CTO or a co-founder or a tech partner that's going to start building this app out for you. Now, we do this, right? So I'm not going to speak too much about how awesome we are about doing this because we kind of are. But what I want to tell you is a couple of quick things to keep a lookout for. One, try not to have two code bases, okay? We have primarily two mobile phone technologies in the world. One's Android, one's iOS or for Apple. Usually that means you have two bases of code. You have to write code for one, code for another. Make sure you don't do that. There are technologies out there that allow you to write one piece of code and they deploy to both devices, in fact multiple devices. You want to use those technologies because you don't want to pay twice for coding, okay? The other thing is, guys, that when you are interviewing your tech partners or your CTOs, think about the sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here, approach they will take. We recommend that you take an MVP type approach. If people out there haven't heard of this, there's a book out there, I think it's called 0 to 1. I'm not sure. Maybe not. No, it's the Lean Startup. The Lean Startup talks about an MVP. It stands for a minimal viable product. Basically, the theory is that what you want to do is only build as little as possible to go to market with. Now, when you go to market with this, you're going to feel like terrible. If you're anything like most entrepreneurs, if you're anything like me, you're going to think this is not perfect. I hate this idea. You're going to be sick to your stomach. You're going to say, this is ugly. No one's going to like it. This is worthless. Guys, it's not. I guarantee you it is not. What you're doing is you're signaling to the market to say, this is the approach we're taking. This is the direction we're heading towards, right? Your MVP will have your vision, the vision of what the app is to be, right? And what you want is to get into a mode of experimentation where you release, yes, it's not perfect, but you release to the public. The public will, hopefully, if you're lucky, will hound you and say, this is the worst thing I've ever seen because X, Y, and Z, right? Now, I say if you're lucky, because if you don't get any responses and you just hear crickets, you're in trouble, right? So what you want is for people to tell you how bad your app is. And the reason for that is this. You can now fall into an experimentation and incremental continuous improvement loop, right? So what you do is you put something out there, an MVP. They give you feedback. I hate this because of X, Y, Z. You fixed X, Y, Z, right? You hear about all the people that talk about the same X and the same Y and the same Z. You count them all up. If there's 10 people that hate X and 20 people that hate Y and 50 people that hate Z, guess what you're building out first? You're fixing Z. So you fix Z, you release. Guess what? The 50 people will disappear and start liking your software. Now you go and listen again. What are the people's issues? I have issue A and B. Which one is more prevalent out there in the market? Issue B is, guess what? You're building B. Build B, release. What you're doing here is you're getting better, but you're not getting better based on what you think the user wants. You're getting better on the hard facts, on the actual stats. That's the beautiful thing about this. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it because I've seen this work and it works amazingly. It's so counterintuitive that no one ever thinks to go this way. But now there's books written about it because it works, okay? So guys, please, when you are thinking about building an app, please don't build the most amazing Bugatti of an app. All you need is a Corolla to start off with, and then you get feedback, okay? Now, the next part of this whole process is to start getting into this loop, as I mentioned, and start looking at where that vision is for you, right? Remember, an app is not a business, okay? Please don't expect an app to make money for you like a business does. That's not how it works. An app is something you do that helps other people do stuff that they do, okay? And if you take it from that perspective, what you're thinking about is you're helping people, right? And in fact, you actually are. And the better you can help people because you're getting all this feedback and you're actually building towards people that are actually asking for stuff, the more money you will just naturally make. Even if your app is free, you will just make more money. Okay, so money is always going to be a byproduct of your app. Keep that in mind because if you have an app idea right now and you think, oh, I'm going to be rich because of this and I'm going to lie on my yacht all day, I'm sorry, it won't work out for you. But if you think my app is going to change lives and I'm going to make some really great friends out of this thing, awesome. We are the people to talk to you because what we will do is we'll build you the the least awesome MVP out there, and we will get you to market, and then we will sit with you and actually figure out what's the best next move. Okay, guys, that is it for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Again, if you missed on last week's one, please go ahead and rewatch that or watch that for the first time. Feel free to share these around because I think there are not enough people out there that are taking the importance of pre-work when it comes to coding an app. And then coding an app, and then actually doing the MVP thing and actually finding more value through your community, your users. All right, thanks again for hanging around and watching to the end. Please share or like if you do like this content. Otherwise, we'll be back next week, and until then, I hope you stay focused.